Hey there guys, and welcome to Acoustic Guitar Tutorials here at Grace Vineyard Church. In this series, I'm just going to be running through a bunch of box shapes in different keys, and that just means a set of shapes that help us get through all 7 chords within a key. So I'm going to start with this one, G shapes. It's probably my favorite to use because it's so easy to access all the shapes, and you can use the capo to play in the key of A, the key of C, right up to the key of D with the capo on the 7th fret. So here they are, G shapes. So this first chord here, chord 1, is like a G5 chord. It resembles a normal G chord, only that I've taken my first finger off here just to get rid of some of the information in the low end. So what do we got? We got this shape here. We got my 3rd and 4th fingers on strings 1 and 2 in the 3rd fret. We've got my middle finger down here in the 3rd fret on the 6th string. And I'm just curling that middle finger over string 5 to mute it there. Just to tighten up that sound like that. So there's chord 1. Chord 2 resembles like an A minor chord, only that I'm taking my 3rd finger off and putting my 4th finger on the 1st string in the 3rd fret. My 1st finger is on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, and my middle finger is here on the 4th fret, 4th string. So I like that shape because there's a little bit of continuity between chord 1 and chord 2, with these 2 notes ringing through. And I just really like continuity when I've got a whole bunch of shapes, because it means that I'm not changing the sound too much between one chord to the next. So there's chord 1 and 2. Now there's 2 kinds of chord 3 that come up in music. One is a 1/3 chord, and the other is an actual 3 chord, which is like a minor chord, which is a minor chord. So I'm going to show you ways to do both. Here's the 1/3 chord. It's a G over B, and it's a bit like our first shape, only that I'm using my 1st finger here in the 2nd fret of the 5th string to be our root note, and I'm kind of curling my thumb over that 6th string to mute it. And again, I've got my 3rd and 4th fingers up here on strings 1 and 2 in the 3rd fret. So that's G over B, 1/3. Now if I want an actual 3 chord, a minor chord, I can do this here to get a B minor chord. I've got my 1st finger on the 5th string, 2nd fret, my 2nd finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, my 3rd finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. And I could curl this 1st finger over to mute that 1st string. Or if I wanted a really colourful sound, I could keep it open and have like a B minor 11 sound. Or if I wanted to tighten that 1st string up, I could put my 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, and then bring my pinky onto the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and tighten it up like that. So there are some ways to play chord 3 and 1/3. So moving on to chord 4. This shape is really similar to chord 1, only that I've moved my middle finger up to the 5th string. Kept my 3rd and 4th fingers up on the 1st and 2nd string. And I'm curling my middle finger over, this time curling it over the 4th string. So that's chord 4. It's actually like a C2 chord. So if we move along to chord 5, I've got 3 ways that I like doing this. One is just a normal D chord, and avoiding playing these bottom 2 strings. I can use my thumb to mute them, just to tidy that up. But sometimes I, again, want that continuity, so I'm going to keep my 3rd and 4th fingers, again, up on frets 3 in the 1st and 2nd strings. And that makes like a D sus chord, and it just helps that continuity between all these chords. So that's one way. The last way I like playing chord 5 is by doing a traditional kind of C chord shape and just sliding it up 2 frets to become a D chord. So I've got my third finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string, my middle finger on the 4th fret, 4th string, my first finger on the 3rd fret, 2nd string, and my pinky right up here on the 5th fret of the 1st string. And I like this because there's kind of this rub between these two notes, strings 3 and 4. It's like a sus, but then it's kind of not a sus because it has the 3 as well. And there it is, chord 5. And chord 6 here is like an E minor chord, only that I've got these fingers 4 and 3 again up here on the 1st and 2nd strings. And on the 4th and 5th string, I got my 1st and 2nd fingers on fret 2. So there's chord 6. Now chord 7, we don't usually use a traditional chord 7 in church music, a diminished chord. What happens a lot more commonly is chord 5 over 7. So here we go, I've got my chord 5, D, and I'm just going to put my thumb on the 6th string, 2nd fret to get that 7th note. There we go, 5 over 7. And I'm curling my thumb over this 5th string to mute it. Now, if you don't like using your thumb, which is fine, you can change this D chord to be on your last few fingers and have your first finger free to play that 6th string down there on the 2nd fret. So those are the 7 G shapes, or actually there's more depending on what variation you use. It's a great way to get through all the shapes. I'll just show you up here what it's like having it up on a capo. You can play some really nice bright shapes here. I'm in the key of D with capo right up on the 7th fret. So it's really versatile and a great one to use. Cheers.